welcome. I'm not going to be wasting any time. I'm just going to be showing you guys how to do this. So to start it off, I have two doors. This door opens and closes, and you have a button to do so. The other side also has a button, so it doesn't really matter if it's open or closed. Both of these do the same thing. This door over here has a lock, so you can open it and close it, and then if you want to lock it, you can go ahead and lock that, and if you try to open it, it is going to fail. And as you can see, I keep trying it, and even if I do it from this side, not opening. So if you're wanting to build any of these, I'm gonna go through both of these. They both run off of one scripting brain. And I also have a prefab of each of these if you guys want to use them. Please take note, if you're going to use them, make sure to ungroup them, because for some reason when they're grouped, it breaks. I don't know why. But yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and start with this one. So, with the node graph under this scripting brain, the non-lock one, I know there's a lot, but I'm going to go through all of these and explain them. So, I guess let's not really waste any time. So, to begin with, I am going to say that you will need some knowledge on referencing objects and how that works. If you're unfamiliar, it's pretty easy. If you need to reference one, you can grab it, go to the node graph, hit Y on your controller, and then you can add that object reference. So if you ever need that, that is just one quick thing I wanted to get out of the way. So this is how the script is going to run. You have, sorry, hang on, let me center it. So here is where the beginning happens. So we have both, I'm going to use my mouse. So we have both of the interactable switches, and we are referencing those and on object interact. So both of those we're trying to see if they have been pressed. Then we're going to trigger a custom event for both of these, and our custom event is try open. Both of these are the same thing, and they trigger the same event. Oh, my bad. Now, down here is the custom event. So when they hit the button, it triggers it, and then it comes down here, and it starts running through all of this code we got going on. I'm going to use my mouse for this. It'll just be easier. So on custom event, try open, which is what we did up top, it's going to go to a branch. You can get branches under logic, and these are pretty useful, and we're going to be using these a lot for this door. So under the branch, it gets the condition of a Boolean. A Boolean is two values, false and true. And as you can see, it has if true, if false. So this is pretty important for doing these doors, and we're going to be using a lot of that. So we get the condition is open. So we want to check if the door is open. If the door is open, we translate object to point. And here we choose the seconds and the movement curve. Now to go through all of this, this is duration in seconds, and the movement curve is how it goes about moving. So I have ease in, ease out, and then it basically kind of smooths into it and then smooths out of it. So the fastest point is in the center when, I guess in the middle of the time. It's hard to explain, but you guys can mess with this and see how you want your door to move. But the best way I can explain it is how it goes about moving. I'll get into how the positions work and whatnot, but I'm just kind of getting a rundown of how all this goes through. The set Boolean variable, so we're setting is open to false. So this over here is open. It's going to check that. So it kind of goes through this loop. So if it goes through here, if it's true, then it goes if true. So okay, it's true. So let's go ahead and set the position, and then we're going to set it to false. Then back up here, if they hit the button, it triggers the custom event. The custom event goes down here, and then it checks. This time it's false, so it goes down here. It does the same exact thing. It moves, and then it sets it to true. So it kind of goes in this on and off movement here. So these other things we got going on down here and up here, these are where it's moving. So it's a little confusing, but I'm going to run through all this. So to get its position and where we want it to move for both of these, they are both fundamentally the same. So we get an object reference of the door. The door is this thing right here. It gets object position, and then it gets vector axis values, or value. This is under math, and this is really useful when trying to do stuff like this. So it gets its value, and then it returns an X, Y, and Z numbers. So we're then going to take these and plug them into a vector 3. Now you can get this under, I forgot the name, variables basic. And that is really handy. So we're going to plug X and Y into there. And then we're going to take an add, which is under math. And we're going to take the Z value, put it into here. And we're going to add it by 14. Which the result will take whatever the position of the door is. And then add 14 to the Z value. Now this is why this door goes up and down, is because no matter where this door is, it'll go up and down. It can be up here, it could be down here, and it'll always go up 14. So that is really handy using this stuff. And that's really crucial, especially for duplicating these doors, because if you were to just like tell it to go to a very specific spot, it won't work with duplication. So this is really necessary. And then same thing, you're going to get its position back up here, same thing, but you're just going to minus 14, so it goes back down, which is, you know, plugging in the Z, minus 14, and then you take the vector and put it into its position. The object we're moving is also the door. So, you know, you want to make sure you're moving the correct objects. So I think I ran through all this correctly. One last note that I really want to make clear is when you're using these get Boolean variables, which I forgot to mention where they are, they're under advanced. And so you have declare Boolean variable and whatnot. With these things, it is very crucial that you set the scope to local, not global, not object, local. Right under here, you need to make sure that is object or local. The object does not matter for this specific scenario, so don't worry about that stuff. And then declare. So this is very necessary. Make sure you have this when you're scripting this, because if you don't have it, none of these will work. So make sure the initial value is false, because is it open? It's false, because, you know, it's not open when you start the game. So the scope, again, is local. And I usually try to word the identifier as a question, because like is open without the question mark, but I try to word it as if it was a question. It makes it easier to understand, at least for me. And then same over here that said Booleans. You don't need to worry about the object, but the scope needs to be local. And just make sure if it's true, that it sets it to false. And if it is false, it sets it to true. So just make sure you know doing that stuff, and make sure the identifier is the same wording as the declared Boolean variable and get Boolean variable. They all got to be the same wording. I'm not sure about capitalization. I've never really tested that. I just kind of always made it spelled the same. But just to be safe, make sure they're spelled the same. And that is it. That's all this is. All right, so now moving on to the lock door. We're same thing. I've already shown you guys. We're just going to go ahead and head to the node graph. So as you can see, it's kind of the same stuff before, but make sure that the on object interacted, which makes sure you're referencing the object to the custom event. That's very important. Not very important, but it's for a something I added that's different than this, that this doesn't have. So moving on, we have a second on object interacted over here. Now this is referencing the object which is over here, the lock switch, we'll call it. And it's reading, is it activated, or when is it activated? And then if it's activated, it goes through a branch and it checks the condition of can open. So if can open is true, it sets can open to false. If can open is false, it'll set it to true. So this is kind of how the lock works. So we're seeing can it open, and then we're kind of setting what it is. So can it open? False. No. Can it open? True. Yes. So we're going to set it to false. So that's kind of how you toggle it on this switch. We want to change what if it can't open or not. Now to make sure the door doesn't open if it's locked, you do the same thing as I was saying earlier with the branch. Just put it earlier. So I hope I didn't confuse you there, but basically you're having a second branch, and instead of seeing if it's open or not, you're seeing can it open. So here we have get Boolean variable, and we plug this into the condition. So can it open, and if it can open, which is true, then it will go through this, and it will decide should I close it, open it, whatnot. And if it is false, we were going to play a 3D audio for all players. Now you have to choose the position of this, and that's kind of why I was saying up here you need to get the object, because on custom event you can reference a object, and then we take the object's position and then plug it into the 3D audio for all players. So is what it's doing is no matter what thing hits it, it'll play an audio for all the people on that switch. So you can see the sound is error, and if I go ahead and go through here, we're going to hit this first and then try this. And yeah, it doesn't open. Kind of how I showed you guys earlier. You can't really hear the sound. I think it's because of the switches I use. These are very noisy switches. You can use the invisible one, which I don't think has any sound at all. Oh, what's happening? I don't know. Worth a try. Let's try it. Yeah, it's got no sound. So you can use that and have a custom thing, and it'll play a little sound. But yeah, that is how it works. I think I went over all the scripting. If you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them. If you guys want any other tutorials, like anything you want to build in your worlds, I'll try to get the time and make a tutorial on that. Another thing with these is you can duplicate them and they will work just fine. All you need is the door, the scripting brain, and the switches. That's really all you need, and you're welcome to swap out the door itself to another object. But I can scale these up as much as I want, and they'll all work fine. I just kind of want to demonstrate it, because it runs all of the scripting in with it itself, which is really necessary for it. So you can see they all open, and it's not going to mess with the other ones. Really simple stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching.